It's a weird, obviously a horrific day in the United States. And this is not a political podcast. This has never been a political podcast. This is about bike riding and people who love to ride bikes. But I have a feeling that, and my name's on the masthead, so I'm not speaking for my co-host. I'm not speaking for my sponsors. I'm not speaking for anything like that. I'm just, I'm change. That's all I want to say. Change in any way, shape, or form. Let's just never. I don't want this anymore. So I'm gonna be quiet for a second. And now I'm going to talk about bikes. That's I think the best I can do is just give us a chance to talk about bikes. And it's a hard transition, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to pivot because before we begin, I want to take a moment to celebrate the arrival of the all-new Gooder Rap G's. Rap G's. I thought it was Warp G's when I first saw them, but it is Rap G's. They are big, they are beautiful, and they're brilliant for cycling. I personally have ridden in them 3 times since I've received my pair. And the no-slip, wind-blocking, anti-fog frames and lenses are exactly what the bike doctor ordered. Get to Gooder.com today. Grab a pair for, get this, $45 for a pair of really cool-looking cycling sunglasses. Yeah. Jackson, you're a fan.
Oh, am I? They're my new favorite cycling glasses.
Yeah. Paul, you don't wear glasses when you ride, so we can't convince you otherwise.
Well, maybe these. Maybe.
Pretty comfortable.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So try them out, folks. Get to there. And we got some fun stuff we're planning with Gooder here hopefully over the next couple weeks. And we're going to do a lot of fun stuff with those guys and get Gooder Rap G's on everybody's faces. So there we go. Ambassador Cycling, people, the home of Get Fit to Get Fit. You know you need proper fit to go fast, far, or even forever. Trust us. Trust Sam. He knows his shit, and he can straighten out your shit. AmbassadorCycling.com. Next, I got to do my Manscaped read. This is my last Manscaped read. Unless we get some more people to go out there and buy a ball shaver.
Do it.
You know what? This isn't in their copy, but I loved it when I once received it, and it mentioned the words dong salon. And I thought that was funny. You can turn your house into your own private dong salon. So support for Packfiller brought to us by our friends at Manscaped. Best in men's below-the-waist grooming and legs and arms and chest and all that kind of stuff because we're bike racers and hair slows us down. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels and elsewhere. Performance package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. So over 4 million men worldwide trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code PACKFILLER at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There are some strange people out there.
The
number would throw the number
like
off.
Dr. Evil when he went, wait, hide my balls. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. Oh, I love to laugh. Let's do this. Oh. Have a sip of beer. I got a lot to talk about. My emotional roller coaster continues. Well, we're here, and we practice what we preach, although some better than others. Bring that down. Some better than others, right? This is Life on Two Wheels. This is cycling. This is the Packfiller. I am Pat Bulger, and we are coming off an actual weekend of racing, heading into a weekend of race promotion for some of us. So let's. How's everybody feeling? Before we even get to the question, how's everybody doing? Paul, you came in and said you weren't feeling good.
Yeah, well, that's just the after effects of the race.
Okay.
But, yeah. As in mentality-wise?
Yeah.
I sent you that because it was the first race in about 2 years.
Yeah.
A little Seinfeld when Frank Costanza says, I'm like the Phoenix rising from Arizona. It's like, I'm happy when I race, no matter the outcome. So.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to comment on some of the things I saw from you this weekend. Jackson, how you feeling, man? We'll get to the details, but
I feel pretty good. Yeah, it was a good weekend. I'm like Paul. I'm just happy to get back being competitive with something on the line.
Yeah. I do want to tell every single listener that I saw and heard my son say "fuck" this weekend.
Yep. You did.
joyously fuck, or was it
No, it was
to be damn
frustratingly
fuck?
fuck.
Oh, okay.
Fuck! He's one of those fucks.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was big. Before we go too far into our personal journeys, let's see who's here. Although we've all talked already, and if Jack was here, he would have talked. And learn a little along the way. So we're going to go to a fairly common question, but one that perhaps provides some insight. So, gentlemen, if you could possess a superpower, I don't write these. They just come to me. If you could possess a superpower, what would it be and why? So first off, he's the only guy I personally know who would likely be psyched for an apocalyptic storm just for the experience of riding in it, Mr. Paul Main.
How you doing?
Good.
Superpower.
Yeah.
Wow.
It can be. You can be specific, like
Like on the bike.
read mind. You could
I wouldn't want to read minds. That would be really,
Yeah, we
especially in
fucked up.
today's
Yeah,
world
yeah,
right
right?
now. I think you touched that. I don't want to read those minds.
No, yeah.
God, I think transport to one place to another, like in an instant, to
Teleportation.
travel. Yeah.
Teleportation.
I love going to Europe, and my wife just got back.
Yeah.
Her biggest fear was, I might get a little long,
No.
was that she would, because coming back to the United States is where the big push with COVID is.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
goes, what am I going to do if I'm stuck there for 5 more days in a COVID hotel where you don't see anybody and you just got 4 walls and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't sound good. And she texts me and she goes, we're coming home. Excellent. She gets in the United States, and when she's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, she's coming home, and she says, flight crew just hit their maximum. This is the last flight out. I won't be home for 2 days. She's stuck in
shit.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'm thinking, where's the irony there? Where you think, I'm in the U.S., we're
Yeah.
free, coming home, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you could have the superpower to go, tung,
Bing.
yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
Teleportation.
Yeah.
just go see, hey, let's go see Flanders. You want to go see Flanders? Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go see.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. You stole mine, but that's okay.
Oh, bullshit.
You did.
No.
I swear to God, you did. Yeah. Second of all, second person here, he's a crit demon. We're just going to call him a crit demon. Fuck Nightwing. He's crit demon. Jackson Bulger, how are you, man?
Doing well,
Cloud
thanks.
fucking 9, I would imagine.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Superpower. I think super speed. I've always wanted super speed. Like even since I watched The Incredibles and I watched Dash. I was like,
Yeah.
I want that superpower. So I think I'll stick with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question on that.
Oh.
You would have to have super stop on that too, because at super speed, if you see an object like something that's coming in, you
Yeah.
have to super stop.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of how the Flash does it. Is like when he runs, everything is in slow motion, and so he can just like dodge it with ease.
Everything he does, his mind also moves that.
That
quickly.
happens if you race a lot of crits and you motor pace. That's what happens.
He-
Seriously, you do. It's like you could be going at 27, 30 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and everything's slow. But when the first time you do that, you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah, right? So me, I'm so emotionally unstable, I might not even make it to the end of this podcast. I'm Pat Bulger, and my superpower, honestly, it's written right there, teleportation. I wanted the same thing. I just want to do the whole blink and just be somewhere place I wanted to go to or travel to, or even my commute to work. It's just like,
Oh,
bing,
I
I'm in
thought
my
maybe
office.
on the road race you were thinking that about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bing, it's over.
You're in a hot
Fuck.
shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we. I want to get to this, and I don't want to spend the entire show regaling in our weekend because people might go, that has nothing to do with me. But I think sometimes our stories are kind of the fun part of the show. So let's recap a bit. Our district masters road racing crit were this weekend, but it was a 3-stage omnium time trial road race crit. Saturday was the time trial in the morning, road race in the afternoon. We all had a 2-lap road race, which was
57.
57 miles. Okay. And I'm going to say it was very in the vein of Flandrian hell. And Sunday was a true cyclist crit course because I don't know about you guys, but I found that every single corner in that course was pedalable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which blew me away. And so
I love that course.
yeah. So let's recap a little bit here because I'm sure if you don't want to hear about our recap of our lives, listen to cycling news. So how did things go, everybody, in terms of initial expectations? So because Paul, everybody, we have not had a decent foray into road race experience since COVID. Last year, this very same weekend was planned. It was planned later in the summer because of COVID restrictions, and it got canceled because of fire, because of smoke damage. And I'm sure there are other people in the world who have experienced these types of restrictions, but maybe not as bad as us. But it was such a great release to be able to do this again. I haven't raced my road bike earnestly, other than like training rides. I'm gonna say, holy shit! I'm gonna say 5 to 7 years. I haven't pinned
training
a number
race.
on.
You did,
Yeah. I haven't pinned a number on in a USA Cycling event in probably 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And this was a big one. So, how did it go, everybody, in terms of initial expectations?
Should we start best for last or last?
Let's best for last.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We'll end on a high note.
Yeah. So I'll go first.
Okay. Well, no, because I think we were pretty even.
Not day one.
No, but day two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say we're even.
Yeah.
So
let's start with the day one. Let's do day one expectations and then day two expectations.
So we'll finish on a high note again. So he'll be last.
Both days.
Yeah. For me, we showed up and a lot of the weather was a huge issue, and when I rolled out, I looked at the forecast. That's what I do. It showed like a small percentage of rain.
Yeah.
The wind was coming from an unusual same distance when we did the recon ride the week before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm locked.
Yeah.
I chose the proper clothing for that type of weather, which is supposed to be around 60 degrees start time.
That's what it said it was going to be.
Yep.
And this has been a strange year. So when you pull up and you're like, those are really dark clouds. And then,
yeah. We got hit.
Yeah.
It
and
dropped
I'm like,
12
shit.
degrees in about 30 minutes. Yeah.
And the wind kicked up.
Yeah.
And then there was hail and thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
And they delayed the start for
30 minutes.
30 minutes
Yep.
late. So that just kind of sets the stage.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I did whatever I can. I had to stay warm for the start. You start cold, you're going to be in trouble. You're scrambling.
Yeah.
So
wait, what
I
happened
set
to
my
start cold, be bold?
Well, my clothing, that's usually a clothing chase. But it shows.
Stand out in the freezing cold for a race.
Yeah, you're not. I'm going to sit there buck naked in a tub of ice going, yep, this is how I start racing. So, when we were staging, it was still raining. It was starting to taper off a little bit. At that moment, it was tapering off a little bit.
Yeah.
And so luckily because they had, for us, luckily, I think we're able to race with the crit.
Yeah, they
crit
combined
demon, the
us
CD
with they combined us, which was
because they didn't have enough drivers and support drivers to split up the 57 mile. Those that are doing 57 miles, so we're all grouped together.
Yeah. Which I had a problem with, but anyway,
I had none. To me, it's like did you have a problem with it?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
because
you guys didn't get dropped. You fuckers were in the front group.
So
I wasn't.
Anyway, that when we rolled out, I'm just setting the stage. It was pretty miserable, even for stand. It was blowing sideways.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but my shoes were still wet in front of the heater the next day. I had to use a blow dryer to dry them out.
I had to use a second pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Because I'm a snob.
That's how wet.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, so we rolled out, and then coming out, there's probably Waverly's probably about 8 miles or maybe 10 miles into the start, and you come out of the small little town, and somebody punched it, and got a little gap. I was working with a couple of guys, and they actually bridged. I got popped a little bit from them. I took a harder pull than I should, and I'm waiting. And then a local guy named Winston going, "I'm coming, Paul," and then he's with another guy, and we bridged up, and then thankfully we hit the headwind, and I've never, to be honest with you, in any race ever gone so slow. We were doing like 20 kilometers an hour, like 12, 13 miles an hour in that headwind. And I kept looking back thinking, if anybody's everybody's going to be bunched up again, you know.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I think a lot of people stopped before that point, and but
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
So I got a issue with you people.
So anyway, then with what I liked is because now I can look at the faces, and the one person I was targeting, I couldn't see his number. I went up front. I'm looking for this particular number, 460. I'm like, where the hell? This guy won every stage from the previous stage race 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Little did I know, he was a solo break from almost the gun.
Yeah.
That was the guy.
Yeah.
He's 50 plus. That
He was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
So anyway, then I'm with the Crit Demon here, and we were coming past the school of start finish on the second lap, and we had a crosswind, and everybody's in the gutter, and I'm thinking, and I see people just sucking wheel. I thought, and I went up to you because you were kind of like trying to do something, and I kind of blocked you for a little bit, blocked the wind, that is.
Yeah.
And then I just moved to the yellow line because it was coming from left to right, and you got it, created an echelon, and then I slid down to like the move of defensive echelon where I wasn't letting anybody in, and everybody would have to be in the gutter.
Oh.
And then a couple of people in that echelon were getting popped. Then there was a gap. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh fuck.
And so now I've got a gap to close, and I couldn't. It was just too tough, and we started going up that hill to drop down, and then all of a sudden I blew a gasket, and then I could see people start going, shh, I'll get on this wheel, and then I was scapped again.
Okay.
That's where I got popped. So
Where'd you end up?
fifth in my age group.
Fifth.
But yeah.
Nice ride. It was a nice
Well,
ride.
yeah. I mean, it's. You asked before. You said, "Where do you think we're at a scale of 1 to 10?" I was at 3, and I think I hit the mark. I was not fit for race pace at that speed. The speed work was lacking.
Yeah.
And then I paid dearly because I tried to chase a guy from ODZ to get back on, and the follow vehicle after we got popped, the three of us, another guy from Union Bay, we were rotating through, and his name was Jeff.
You get names.
Well, yeah.
I don't get fucking names.
Yeah. I just
make up
that's good
names.
work. Hey, Jeff, so. But Jeff,
Like I'm like Flappy Jacket.
Yeah,
That's
Flappy Jacket
your
guy.
name.
The
You're
guy in the
Flappy
blue.
Jacket.
The guy with the little,
Yeah.
he had a cat Fred mark on his leg. So anyway, we tried to bridge, and then finally we lost Jeff. And then I'm thinking, that follow vehicle's we haven't been closing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save it for the crit. I said, let's just notch it back. So
You shut
Chase
her
and I
down.
just sat there and talked.
Oh,
and
okay.
rolled in. And then Jeff caught us.
Hi,
'cause we were
Jeff.
just sitting in. So
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff from Union Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I next or
Yeah,
is
because we're
Nightwing
finished on a
next?
high note.
Okay. Okay. I had in all genuine honesty, and I know I'm probably turning into look like this fucking soap opera on wheels. I had one of the worst days on the bike in my entire life, mentally. My wife said to me when I left the house, she said this to me after that. A day after, because I came home and I didn't even want to talk about it. She said, you were in a negative mindset when you left the house. I got out there and I didn't think I was in a negative mindset. I thought I was kind of ready to go. And as the weather changed, my demon started talking to me and started talking me out of the race. And although when we were in the race itself, I was riding as hard as I possibly could, I know the mental element of the sport got to me, and I had just a physically and emotional one of the worst days in my life. I got back to the car and I made a point to record it because I was just like, this might be kind of interesting someday. My reactions after the race, and I was at the point where I was like, why am I doing this? What the fuck is the point of training so hard? I got popped 8 miles into the race. I'm going to be honest. I got dropped 8 miles into the race. Coming out of that, that town. And I spent the next 20 miles chasing with 2 or 3 other guys. And it was a complete exercise in futility. And I finished, and I didn't want to be a bike racer anymore. I was running through that part in your head when you're thinking to yourself, maybe I'll just focus on gravel, or maybe I'll just do bike packing, or maybe I'll just do the other things that I think I'm good at and I should just be comfortable with. And I didn't shake that mentality for almost 24 hours. I was miserable with probably to be at dinner that night. I could not get out of my head. I hated my fucking bike that day. And, it took me a long time to figure it out. And it hit me in the middle of the night on Sunday morning. And I just went, dude, you got to take what you've got, and you've got to either have fun with it, or you got to just, move on. Because that one day almost crushed my cycling career. I'm not going to lie. I know it sounds like I'm being melodramatic, but because I've been working so hard for the last fucking 30 years, but the last 2 years especially, in trying to be faster and compete, I thought I could at least fucking hang with the group, be Packfiller, be what the name on the company title is. And I couldn't even manage that. I was so distraught. And yeah, I didn't want to look anybody in the eye. And it wasn't anger. It wasn't anything. It was just, I didn't like myself that day. It was weird. It was really fucking weird. So, Jackson's going to go after that.
Yeah.
But Sunday, there is a brighter side when we get to my Sunday.
Yeah. So
there is a brighter side. I'm going to promise you that I still like my bike. Although I wanted to be Daniel LaRusso from The Karate Kid and throw it into a fucking dumpster that day. I was just like, fuck this thing. I quit. Anyway, Jackson. Sorry.
No, I get the feeling. I used to have that all the time. But my Saturday was I showed up, and I have a really tough time.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
I want to put into perspective here that you raced as a junior. Quite a few times. And then in college and stuff like that, and COVID was a big chunk of your college, that things kind of were taken away from you, and you haven't had a ton of races under your belt. This was, would I be over exaggerating to say this is one of the first times you've had a big race weekend in a while?
This is my first senior road race I've ever had.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Of
Perfect.
Adult age.
I just wanted to give a little perspective into that. So,
yeah. When I was going out there, I also was a very strong student of the weather that day, and I kept paying attention very closely, and I was like, oh, nice, like the whole weekend's going to be a great weekend. But as we have come to tell our stories, it didn't end out that way.
We have not in Spokane, we just broke a record where we have not had a day over 70 degrees Fahrenheit. We broke a record.
And so going out there, it was pretty miserable. And then once standing out there, I was like, oh, this sucks. And I said to you, Dad, that I was like, I just got to make a lap. And if I make a lap, then I know I can do another one. But the vegan cyclist did something very similar. And when he did his first ever Unbound, he said, I just got to make it 10 more miles, then I can quit. But you keep lying to yourself. And so I was doing that to myself. And so when we started, like as I mentioned, I have a really tough time retaining heat, just because there's not to be like, I'm so skinny, but there's not a lot on me.
There's not.
Yeah. So I was wearing a base layer, our race jersey, and then our thermal long sleeve jersey as well, just to stay warm, plus knee warmers. But yeah, my shoes were still wet our next day. But I did notice, as I've been mentioning quite a few times before, is that I've learned a lot to race smarter and pay attention to things through listening to you guys, through watching more professional bike racing. Just a lot of that stuff has really helped. I knew as you were mentioning, Paul, I knew where the wind was going. I always made sure I was never really behind somebody. I was always to the left or to the right the whole time, and that was a big benefit. But I knew who to focus on as well, and that was a big deal because when you mentioned that there was that attack out of that town, I was second wheel because I saw that attack begin to happen, and then on our second lap, it was like that. It was really the first maybe half mile out of the school that we started at that there was an attack from a team, probably the strongest two-person team, in my race at least. And I saw that they both went, and I said, I said out loud, I went, oh shit, I gotta follow that.
Yeah.
And so I hit the gas there, and then they brought a gap with. I had one of the teammates of that strong team with me, and then the other one was up the road about maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And another thing I thought about,
pull or be damned.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was another thing that I'd learned as I went, oh man, he's not going to pull.
Yeah.
And so I had to make that gap. But as time went on, I made the front brake of my race. Obviously there was somebody up the road, but that didn't really matter in mine. And so, just pulling in a headwind, that sucked. Just all switching turns, and then right as we crested like this final climb before you go straight down into our finishing line. Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah. The
Finish,
they
moved the finish.
Yeah.
It used to be on an uphill, but yeah.
Yeah. I give respect because this was the first time I'd ever been the person that snaps at people when they weren't doing something I didn't like. My boy
has an inner asshole.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
But we talked about it. It was racing. And
you talked with the person?
Yeah.
Wow. Jesus, I never do that.
Yeah.
You could learn something from your son.
I guess I could. Baby's becoming the teacher.
Yeah.
But he said that he was kind of like, he was just lucky to be in that group, and respectably, he pulled that full climb, which I was like, that's cool, sacrificing yourself at the end. But right as we reached the top of that climb, I went, oh no, I'm cramping. I cramped on my inner thighs, I cramped in my calves, and I was like, I don't know how to deal with this because this has been the first time I'd ever cramped in like a riding situation.
That was all the cold too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all the shock.
It zapped your energy and everything.
Yeah.
And so I followed with the person who was in, I think, the 40 plus race, and I was on his wheel, and then I felt the cramp beginning to like come in more and more and more and more, and about maybe 10 feet from the line, everything was just like,
you just locked.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so for the person that won the road race, they were probably like, man, why is he like coming left
why is
so
he
much?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, tactics are coming into play. I can't really do anymore, so I'm gonna slowly but surely move to that center line, not abruptly, but just take away the space because I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, second place happened.
And that was where the fuck came.
Yeah, I smacked my handlebars. Yeah. I was pretty annoyed with that, but also I walked away with it going, I raced as hard as I could. I have another day, and that was out of my control.
You had that sprint locked up until your legs locked up.
Yeah. And so big up to the guy who won. He made a pretty smart tactic move. He went right at the end. He went, oh, sorry, I got to stretch my back, and he went to the back of the pack. And right as he did that, I went,
good call.
Right as he did that, I went, I know exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
But that was my Saturday.
Oh, I love it.
Well played. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if I hadn't listened and learned, I wouldn't have been able to be where I was.
Okay. So road race was day one. I mean, and here we are. We're reminiscing, but fuck it.
Oh well.
I think you can learn by listening to, even though they're not familiar. I think people could find.
The three of us had a complete emotional spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Almost there in victory. Did your best considering the circumstances. Fuck cycling. I'm going to take up golf. I believe that was about the perspective
Pretty much,
we went through.
yeah.
So Sunday was a new day. The weather is complete. It was like moving south.
Mm-hmm.
We went from Sorry for everybody overseas. We went from upper 40s Fahrenheit on Saturday and hail and snow and fucking rain.
There was snow
and
at
sideways
one point.
wind.
Yeah, snow and
on
hail.
Saturday to Sunday, which was upper 50s, low 60s Fahrenheit.
Yeah, maybe
Between
mid-60s.
10 and
Yeah.
15 degrees
Yeah,
Celsius.
And you're smiling.
Good to have you here.
Yeah. I don't know this shit. I'm American. And a completely different day. I'll wrap up my little emotional soap opera. Do I have a soap opera soundtrack? Yeah. You know, no. I was feeling sorry for myself, and I woke up that morning going, okay, Pat, you're going to have to be the announcer. You're going to have to be the guy on a PA system. And if you have a bad race, you can't sit there and fucking pout for the rest of the day. You gotta, grab all three of your testicles and decide.
You're one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to realize what the fuck's going on. And so I felt unbelievable the entire crit. I was a completely different person the entire crit. I had no warm up. Well, actually, I got 3 laps in before the race started, and my wife looked at me even before I left the house. She says, just sit in, just hang out for the first half of the race. You don't know what your body's going to do. And I was like, okay, yes, dear. And that was in the back of my head. And so I will say this question mark was in the back of my head the whole time going, do you keep going? My instinct from my years of racing took over in a lot of ways. Do I attack here? No, because you're not strong enough, Pat. Stay back. No, stay back. There's that guy who won the race. Don't attack him, or something like that. So I did a lot of that. But I felt unfucking believable the entire race. I looked at my heart rate numbers. They were medium numbers. I don't think it was, Paul, you could tell me, it didn't feel super fast.
No, it was. I think it wasn't super fast by any means.
A lot of dick measuring, it seemed like.
Well, I think everybody's apprehensive. I think anybody who raced the day before, and you might justify the same.
Yeah.
That cold weather and everything zapped a lot of spunk out of people. So.
And there were even moments where I think you made fun of me. You were like, you didn't yell at anybody when somebody jammed on the brakes in front of you.
Yeah, they jammed on the brakes. You overlapped a wheel.
Yeah.
I counted twice because somebody made a move. And you usually like, fuck you, I'm dickhead. That type of stuff. And you didn't. You kept your mouth quiet. So
No, I didn't.
I said you had your game. You had your game head in.
I felt, and I'm intentionally being over the top and revealing my soul to you, the listener. But no, there were moments where I was going, I feel completely in control of my bike and the environment around it. When those break, and I honestly want to do a shout out, and I hate the word shout out, to the fact of riding multiple disciplines. Because since I have raced a crit, I have done so much gravel, mountain bike, and different styles of riding that I feel so much more in control of my bike. Somebody hit a brake and I would just kind of, pull the bars back and weave, and people behind me are going, fuck. And I'm like, that wasn't that big of a deal. There's something to be said for riding where your wheels are unstable underneath you. And I'm sure the cross riders in the world are going, you dumb fuck, we've been doing this forever. There's something to be said there because I felt completely relaxed in that field. It's funny. Old buddy of ours, Terry McLeod, was in the race. Who's a just guy who's been doing it almost as long as we have, if not as long. And it was funny watching him instinctually go from place to place. And he and I were doing a lot of that. It was just like you could almost ride the race with blinders on and know where you are in the course in the sense of the field after doing it for 30, 40 years. And it felt really good. And in the finish stretch, I kind of had a little bit of a brain fart because of, I think, insecurity and like, well, I'm not going to win this race, so I might as well just sprint for blah, 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 blah. and I hit the gas in the final sprint, and I saw a guy in front of me, and I was sprinting. I had a coach who told me once upon a time, no matter where you are in a race, always sprint. Calvin Jones, the great Calvin Jones from Park Tools, he said, always sprint. I don't care if you're 30th place. I don't care if you're 3rd place. Sprint. And I always do. And because of what he told me, and I found out later on that I missed podium by less than a rim. Mm-hmm. I almost podiumed in my district championships. And to go from that on Saturday to go from that on Sunday, I've decided I'm just going to become a crit racer, and I'm going to put a GoPro on my helmet, and I'm just going to be that guy. Always wearing a skin suit, never do a ride over 30 miles. I'm going to get really totally, I'm gonna start every video out with, okay, guys, bro, and stuff like that. That's just going to be the new me now. So I hope you guys are ready for that.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. Now, did you do any filming? Let me ask you. Did you turn the camera on?
I tried to, and it bummed me out because I think I
turned it off.
No, I think I had the opposite because it was on my bars and I couldn't see the screen. So and I failed because my objective is to start putting up footage of these things, and I failed.
Because there's people like me out there who just watch random like crits and whatever road races from
No, and it was I had fun out there on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I ended the day going, now I also ended the day going, okay, Pat, you got some shit to work on.
There you go.
And it's this road racing, obviously something's wrong that you can't handle an acceleration on these inclines like this. I've got to fucking work on that. And that was the great thing to come out of it. And I guess I just wanted to say to people, and this is not in a condescending manner, you're going to have fucking horrible days. Mm-hmm. And the key to it is just, I don't know how you can deal with it, because I didn't know how I was going to deal with it. And I'm still dealing with it, because I think the next road race I'm going to deal with it.
Or it could be a crit too.
Yeah. We got those coming up. So, yeah. So just... I guess just take, I don't know what to say. There is no solution. You're going to have shit days.
Mm-hmm. But take each day as it comes.
Yeah, there we go. Paul, how was your crit, man?
So the crit was...
We're 37 minutes into the show. Who fucking cares?
Yeah. So it'll be short for me because it's not a very exciting situation. But this
your
crit...
pre-race story is the greatest part of the whole story.
Oh, yeah. So, especially being a preacher of rim brakes.
Oh, no! Yeah, the irony.
Yeah, the irony. So, what happened when I brought my rollers, warmed up. I mean, I was sweating. And this is a course that I've raced 5 times. I've won twice. I've got 2 seconds. No. How was that? No, I won twice, 1 second. 2/3 and like a 7th is the worst I've ever done. Every year except the year that I got 7th, there's always a breakaway, and that's how I function.
Okay.
And that's what was unusual about this race. And I'm like, there's gonna be a breakaway because it always does. That 1 year that I got 7th, it was a pack sprint. I got boxed in, blah, 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 blah. The same old story that everybody uses.
You got to start announcing races with me, because I was wondering how many races have the ones I've called, announced out there have never ended in a breakaway.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in my pack it had been.
Wow.
It's always been in, when I raced the 1, 2s, 3s the year and I got second, it was a breakaway.
Interesting.
I was in the second break and got second because the guy in my category in Cat 3 at that time got first. So, yeah, I mean, it's always been, and it, like you said, you can pedal, you just have to, depending on, this was a weird, again, the wind was coming out of a different direction.
For the listener, this is, do we say it's an industrial park kind of a feel
to it?
Yeah, it's
a manufacturer of buck knives,
Yeah.
Might as well plug them because they allow.
Yeah, they're
Bruce Johnson is the one that he's a Packfiller guy. He got a new hat. I noticed.
he did get a new hat. Yeah.
But I mean, he's the one that kind of found the place, and he lives in Liberty Lake, Washington, which is like 5 minutes away from this place. But and I love the course. I mean, this is my type of crit. There is corners. There's more than just 4. It's not a standard, but there is turn 2. You're dropping down. And if you're really going, there's no way to pedal. That's the only one because you are going so fast. You're pushing 40.
I think my max was 33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a segment. If you look up in Strava, you can see all the.
Sure.
There's not too many, but there's lap times and stuff like that. So, but I felt pretty positive. I love this course, and I leaned my car against I leaned my bike against my car, and I'm putting, moving around, squeezing my body and.
I forget to mention, by the way, that Jackson and I saw you psyching up on the road race on Saturday, and you were fucking rocking out in your car.
It was so funny,
and I was just going, "This guy's a fucking mutant, man. He's actually. It is hell outside. It is the end of the world, apocalyptic storm coming down, and Paul's in his car, just going." Bike race!
Yeah,
bike race!
I love the weather because it's going to be bad. I knew that eliminates some people mentally.
Yeah. So you're
apparently.
Yeah, me. Yeah. So
I didn't want it on you.
So yeah. I think everybody saw the writing on the wall for me. But the bike leaning against.
Yeah, and so obviously when I had the tunes cranking out, and I was probably bobbing my head again because I felt very confident. I shut down the work the day before and never, I'm saving it for the crit. It's not a time. It's not like I was going to lose time because it's an Omnium. There's no time. I was going to get the place. There's nobody in front of me and there's nobody behind me. So, why
even playing?
Yeah, hammer it.
Yeah.
So the last 10 miles, I just kind of coasted in. So anyway, so I'm thinking this is it. Got on the rollers, broke a good sweat. The weather's sunshine, and I'm thinking this is great. We roll out, we do a couple of laps, and I'm thinking, wow, my legs felt a little blocked, but I'm not worried about it. I'll warm up. Breathing's fine, respiration's fine. And then all of a sudden, Jackson took over, and I could hear his voice. 9 laps to go, and at that point, it was like that lap. All of a sudden, just those abduct. Just both of them grabbed. And I'm like,
inside
holy shit.
thighs.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do on a bike because you're clipped in. It's not like you can.
Yeah, it's not like you can, suddenly do these, leg spreaders. It's like.
And so, and I'm like, oh, okay, just ride it out. You can do this. And then I made it like 1 lap, and then all of a sudden they were grabbing so bad I couldn't even pedal. And I turned to this guy, you got to let me out because people are going to start, I'm going to crash. Yeah, because I can't pedal. I can't even turn the pedal. They locked up. And so I got in the back, and I thought, I have never, ever been pulled from a crit, and I have never, ever been quit a crit. There's no way I was going to quit. And I kept, coaching myself.
Yeah.
Don't stop. And there's a couple of times I even got a gap. And I said, just push through the pain. I'd get there, and I'd get on, that type of thing. Wow. And then I'm wondering what people are thinking because – I'm beating the inside of my thigh. And it took me about 2 laps to go, you know what? People are like, what? That guy's, is he wanking right there in the middle of the pack?
Yeah. He's spanked one off. He's going full plankard on us.
Jesus, yeah. He's got. Watch that guy. So anyway, it was really hard. And then because you change your pedaling style, so my hip flexors cramped up. So I had 4 areas I'm working, and I even looked to you. I just said, I'm cramping. I'm done. And it was all I could do.
I truly, I dreamt of being able to go okay, that backstretch. There's a backstretch, maybe
uphill,
less than a K to go, and I was going okay.
That way. Yeah.
I wanted to just go, okay, let's fucking go, and just hammer it, and I would go till that last bend where it's 50, 80 meters to go. And I was like, just fucking rock. Let's go. Because your sprint has been really nice. You guys have been sprinting really well. And that's what was in my mind. And then you were like, no, man, I'm done.
Yeah, I was done.
Oh, shit.
So 9 laps I was nursing these cramps and stuff. So, but in retrospect, because you had a good result, I'm very happy. I'm willing to give up the cramps. I know this sounds cheesy, for you to get his confidence back, because then it's easy for you to, as a teammate, thinking, I can burn a match right here. I'm helping my teammate out. I got 11th place, but I helped a teammate. I mean, in your mind, these are the shit you do in your head.
You do,
but it was left up to you because I couldn't do shit. Then I was dead. I was dead fucking last. So I mean, at least the only Cat 1-2 woman was in there. She's going, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like beating the inside of my thigh. I'm cramping.
It's right here. She's like, "Don't show me."
Yeah, I don't want to look at that shit. This is a bike race.
And by the way, whoever, because there was one woman in our field.
That's Elise. Yeah,
and she's a fucking great person. I talked to her at the finish when I was very distraught on Saturday. But I also there was one preem in particular that was a bottle of whiskey. And everybody in the group had collectively agreed that she was going to attack and she was going to get it.
Yeah, and she did.
She did attack, and then the guy who won the fucking race attacked her.
And he won the other preem,
and
too.
won the preem. And I do want to say, I don't know this man. I don't know if he's a good person or a bad person. I'm assuming he's a good person. But, dude, fucking come on, man. Just give up the bottle of whiskey.
And we could, I mean, as a pack, it's like he's the one that chased her down. And it's like, well, this guy is a horse. He's going to win if you give him that gap, we had to chase. Right? Yeah. Because
I do want to say that I don't know this guy from Adam.
Maybe he doesn't speak English. He didn't catch that.
Yeah, I bet he's a really nice guy, and I'm gonna hope I can talk to you in person. But right now I'm going, dude, come on, fucking head, asshole.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's probably a nice guy. I'm not going to name his name because I don't know his name.
I do.
Get to the. You do know his name?
Yeah.
Let's get to the best story of the weekend.
I thought that was it.
Nightwing.
Yes. It was a good day. After the road race, like I said, I was frustrated, but I wasn't torn down at all. I cared, but it was also like, oh, that's awesome. Like I got second, and I went in the next day. And my girlfriend and I had dinner with you, Dad, and my mother.
Was it a special day that day?
I don't know.
That was my other excuse. It's my 29th wedding. And Jackson was just looking at me going, say 9. 29th wedding anniversary. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
That was in my head, too. That was my another bailout. Oh, I got to go home. I got to be with my wife.
That's fair.
And she's like, no, fucking race your bike, you dipshit. That was my wife. I mean, she's honestly, my wife's that kind of person. She's like, we'll celebrate. And we are going to at the Chafe coming up soon. But anyway,
Yeah. But leaving that night, my mom, she said, you're going to win tomorrow.
Did she?
She did. She said, you're going to win tomorrow. And I left and I was like, I am. And so I woke up that day. I was like, I had this weird thing in my stomach that not like sickness at all, but it was just
butterflies.
Butterflies. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I don't know how this is gonna go. But playing it back from all my soccer years, that's when I knew that it was gonna be that it was gonna be on. Because every time I wake up with any sort of nagging feeling like that, that's when I just can click in.
Really?
And so, yeah.
Okay.
And so my girlfriend was able to go, which I didn't think was going to happen, which is also really nice. And so we drove out there, and the entire time we were just kind of talking, laughing, and I was calm, really calm. And we get there, I set up, I check in, all that stuff. I put on my skin suit, and I'm like, it's kind of cold, which I was a little nervous about. I didn't like that it was cold. I didn't want to have to wear my arm warmers.
I forgot to wear my skin suit, and I feel bad about that. Anyway.
But yeah.
Back to you, Jackson.
Yeah. I did 2 laps of the course. I did one shortened lap and then one full lap. And the shortened lap, the full lap, I paid attention really closely to where the wind was coming from. And once again, another thing that I have learned.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really think this shit? You guys really think this shit out?
Yeah, that's part of
I had no idea which way the wind was coming from on the crit.
Yeah,
I had no clue which way the wind was coming from on the crit.
Really?
Not until I was commenting about it.
See, I can tell you right now that the back half, it was a straight up headwind, and then take that left,
slide uphill.
Yep.
Now,
there wasn't really much.
Don't get me wrong. I noticed it when we were in the race, but I didn't like going, okay, bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But no, you're good. And there was one specific part right in that finishing bend where I was like, oh, it's kind of like a cross headwind. And so and for this story, remember that for later, because this was a very, very influential thing that I remembered.
Yep.
And so I lined up, I took my arm warmers off, I tossed them to my girlfriend, and the official was talking. I cannot tell you a single thing that he said.
That's, oh my God,
that was
good.
spot on.
That's really good.
Because he was talking, and I was just dead forward. I do not know what was going on around me. The person who won the day before and I got second that day said, "Are you going for preems?" And I said, "F that. I'm not doing that."
No.
I didn't say F though. So
Did you say fuck that?
yeah,
that's my boy.
And so the race started, and I also felt very comfortable with bike handling. I'd been able to just take these corners really hard and not have to worry about it. And a lot of times I'd be able to move up places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And as the race went on, my plan was to stick in until the final, or unless there was a break. And that's pretty much what I did. There was one break where ODZ had 2 riders, and they kept sending them forward. And you, Dad, on the PA system, you said, that's 15 seconds, the race is going away. And I went, oh, man, he's right. And so I closed the gap.
Listen to the PA announcer, by the way.
And I heard that, and I went, oh,
Dave
you're right.
Toll actually knows bike racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
And I closed that gap. And after that, I was like, all right, just sit back in. You closed it. It's good. And for the rest of the race, I just stuck in. And then that last lap, it was I knew it was the last lap. And so I was like, I was probably 4th position that whole time. And then the 3rd to last corner, I was able to come on the inside and take another spot. And then the 2nd to last corner, we went in, and I knew where the wind was coming from, like I said. And I let the guy take the inside line, and I took it outside, and his slipstream like slingshotted me forward. And the 2 leading guys just left a little tiny gap, and I saw that, and I went, this is far out, but I got to go now. And I just shot it, and it closed immediately right after I left it. And that was the winning move. Able
That's
to post
beautiful.
up and all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
you had a good lead. You had like 3. You finished with at least 3 bike lanes.
Yeah.
Did you practice that post-up gesture?
A little bit. Yeah. I've been looking for that one for a while at this point.
No, and I'm not busting your balls.
No, I'm not taking that way at all.
I'm not busting any of the 3 of your balls. Because that is
there goes that number again.
Damn it. That is something that every bike racer does. And let's be honest, every bike racer imagines their post-up, their victory salute.
Yeah.
And yours was
I smacked my chest twice, and then
you kind of like fists out.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Well,
that is good looking.
And the thought behind it was I want everybody to know the name, Arrive.
Yeah.
And so that's why I smacked the chest.
Yeah. It's good. That was good.
You're a quick learner.
There is an
Thanks to you
Instagram
guys.
photo out there of you finishing that post, and Paul, you actually in the corner,
just
Really?
with your arms in the air, total victory
I loved
salute.
it. Yeah.
And I do want to say that my father thinks it's me, so we're just going to keep my dad thinking. My dad would never listen 50 minutes into a podcast, so he has no clue. He thinks he thinks I'm you.
It's been a long time. I don't have a mustache.
No.
No.
And I sent him another picture of his son in the crit, me.
Yeah.
With the mustache, and he was like, "God, I'm so proud. What a great moment between you and your son.
Let him keep
You're on
that
the
going.
sidelines, putting your arms in the air." And I'm like, "Dad, I'm the idiot on the microphone that's hidden by the speaker. You can see the bottom of my legs." And then in the same comment, my mother actually said, "Looks like you're wearing pink tights."
Oh no.
Yeah, that's my mama.
That's my skin, Mom.
Yeah. Well, actually, what I did is I responded to her text and I said her post, and I said, "Yeah, that's my inherited skin tone."
Yeah.
Mommy. So it was a good weekend.
Yeah.
I think we all came out of it better.
Absolutely.
A little different.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Sorry. Somebody from the race has actually said that they will post the photos in a bit of the race. So that'll be cool for us to see it.
Yeah.
What photos?
Of the
Not the one of Paul while his bike fell over.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't even
We
touch
didn't even
that.
finish that.
It knocked my wheel into my brake, and I didn't really. It wasn't rubbing too bad, to be honest with you. It
That was
wasn't
the
rubbing
irony.
too bad.
Yeah.
The irony was that your rim brakes were rubbing.
Yeah. And that would have been an easy fix.
Yeah.
And
I
I was getting like not undressed. I wasn't naked. I want to put that on the record.
because I caught him naked one time.
You did.
When he finished the road race, I went to talk to him. Maria's laughing. Oh my God! And you were buck-assing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I was.
I saw nothing.
Yeah.
Well, except for the quality manscaping that you did with this product.
But I was taking the top of my skin suit off, and Paul came by and he was telling me what happened. And I got in the car just to grab some stuff, and I said, "This is probably really poor timing." But I wanted to say something about disc brakes in that moment, but I wasn't going to let that happen at that moment.
I would have like, good one.
Well, I was like, the wounds were still open. I wasn't going to let that go.
No. See, the thing with that is like looking back on the weekend. To me, I always assess like for you. I was concerned about you because you text me and saying you had inner demons. To me, I always assess. Okay, what did I do right? Bank that. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And you can't use excuses. And
Yeah.
a brake
No,
rub is
you're
an
exactly
excuses.
right.
And the thing is like, okay, so next time, these aren't excuses. This is what you have to do to improve, so that doesn't happen again. And that's the best thing about bike racing. And to me, this is the pinnacle. And like I said, even with the shit race that I had, the worst result on that crit that I've ever had on that course, it's like I'm bike racing again, and that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
And I can only go better from hanging on and looking like I'm wanking off in the back of the pack trying to work out a cramp. So
Well, and something something I did want to say on the PA system when I was announcing your race, which was a lot of fun. I was really happy I was able to call your race because.
Dude, you handled it like a pro. Yeah.
But something
seriously.
Well,
you
thank
did.
you.
I mean,
Thank you.
For a guy who's like, I'm like going, okay, you need, announcing a crit is a different beast than a gravel race or that kind of stuff because you got to work with USA officials. You got to be able to have that relationship where you're talking about, hey, should we do a preem now? Yada yada yada. And no, you handle it great.
Well, thank you. And something I did want to say was that I think that. I really wanted to give a wonderful shout out to ODZ.
Thank you,
because they are creating something really, really positive in a town that doesn't have a lot of cycling going on, and so I think that they were able to create such a fun, welcoming weekend, and I think that was really cool.
Yeah,
because we don't have a lot of it, and we need more of it, and so round of applause to that.
Yeah. Mike Surratt, Bruce Johnson, Todd.
The whole
Stoker, and Nathan, all those guys. They did the best they can with what they had to work with,
and they did a damn good job.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll continue.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Why?
That you guys should mention that
because
I want to bring us to the topic.
We're
58 minutes in, and we're
Screw the
never,
Giro.
We're never gonna. Now,
that's right.
I do want.
This is better than the Giro.
You know what? I do want to call out the fact that Ellen Van Dyke fucking rocked the world hour record. She crushed that, and I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to get to Ellen Van Dyke and her incredible effort today. Not today, but yesterday. But that was so cool. Number one, that we had access to it, and number two, that she did it, and I think she can go farther. I think the focus and her ability to stay in that position and not move for 60 minutes was fucking amazing. 30 miles. I mean, can you do 30 miles in 1 hour? I can't. No fucking way. Unbelievable. So congratulations to Ellen. And then we're gonna touch base on the Giro, but I do want to talk about the topic here, and it's brought to you by our friends. I'm gonna kill 3 sponsors in a very quick amount. Untapped Maple, where the fuel comes from the purest maple Vermont syrup. By Scratch Labs, where the fuel tastes pure and clean. And from Athletic Brewing, where your post-ride recovery tastes like you're cheating, even when you're not. So check it all out at our great friends throughout the link at packfiller.com. I want to talk about the state of road cycling. And we do this a lot. We talk about it a lot, but especially in our region and our country and beyond, we got a race. We got 3 races. And it has been a long time since we've had that because of COVID, because of our environment and things we're dealing with here. There are some ahead. We've got Walla Walla this weekend in our region, which is next weekend. And we've got some fondos, and we've got some crits here and there, and things like that going out. So I do want to assess and talk to you guys about what you thought of, for example, the turnout this weekend. Paul, you and I come from a background where, and I'm going to focus primarily on road racing for the initial onset of this, where road races used to be huge,
massive.
And if I don't want to demean what happened this weekend. Please God, please understand that I don't want to demean what happened this weekend. But the numbers were not what they were. I had a couple friends of ours, Terry, a good friend of the show, texted me and he said road racing is dying, and then he took that back, and he said, I don't think it's dying. I think it needs a resurgence. How would you guys describe the turnout this weekend, and where you and why you think the numbers were where they were? It's hard for you, Jackson, because you just haven't had a lot of this yet. Although your Portland race was probably huge.
Well, and see, I was gonna say that's the perspective that I'm able to have right now. Is that coming back from Portland, I had probably a field of maybe 30 plus. Which was like the biggest field I'd ever been in.
Yeah.
And so that was really interesting to see. But our road race pack, I was pleased with, mind you, that it was kind of that combination of categories.
Categories thrown into each other.
But I thought that while initially for some may have been like tough to pick out who was in which category. Mind you, I had done the homework like we talked before. I knew who was in my category and I knew who to watch out for. I also really liked it because I was able to work with some of those riders from the other categories.
I did have a problem with that, and this is going to be the old man in me. You were fine with that because you were racing to beat all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us were racing just to beat the people in our category, and I don't have a solution for that. But I think it's fucked, because if one guy can hang with you, my race is over. Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
And so I was happy to see, for at least my group, the amount of people that were able to be at the race. And I will also say that it is not, I don't think that it is racing in general that is dying. I think that population is what controls a race. The reason why Portland was so big is because, first of all, it's a cycling city, but also it is, population-wise, it is going to draw a bit larger crowd than a place like Spokane would, which it has a wonderful cycling community, as I mentioned before, but the population of that cycling community is nowhere near as large as the one in Portland. And so it's like, for me doing this, it's like comparing apples and oranges, but on Sunday, I enjoyed that I was able to actually, have a pack. I had gone from racing with juniors, which was 3 people.
Yeah.
And so while, yes, it may not be 50 people racing all to win, I was happy to see however many were in my pack, maybe max 15, 20 maybe. But I don't know if I can put a damper on that because it's a start, But it's because it had been delayed and everything. I also think that COVID had a difficulty on that as well. Did it, are people willing to come out to crowds, all that type of stuff. It was great to see.
Paul Jackson said it's a start.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a start or is it the end?
It's a start. I agree with him. I think on the east side, it's kind of hard to draw people from the west side over here. Mm-hmm. Some people are impressed with the terrain or the type of racing or the course itself. We have some great road race, potential. I have to share this story. I found a little place. The start of the race on the road race was in a school, high school, mm-hmm. and there was a little like foyer that was opened up where you can get some shelter because it was pissing rain and the wind was blowing.
So fucking cool.
And we the first group went off that did like just one lap, and then our group, which is everybody, because they couldn't get enough volunteers, so mm-hmm. we had to be combined, for support and lead vehicle. So, yeah, you hit it on the head. It's kind of new here. And I talked to Bruce Johnson at the crit about the situation that I'm going to divulge here. This guy sees me in there, and he comes in, and he's got plastic all over. And he told me right off the bat, I'm from Bellingham.
Plastic all over. What do you mean?
He had plastic on his hands to keep dry before the start. He's going to take it all off. He just covered himself. He had plastic on his shoes and everything, so they would stay dry. Bags,
stuff like that.
What?
Yeah, clear plastic. Like he had big sandwich bags. Who comes prepared like that?
Hugh Hefner is this shit.
He had some good gear and everything, and he said, they threw us all together. I'm tired of racing against these young guys. I'll never come to the east side. This racing here is shit. Now, and I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that's his opinion, right? Like, that's your opinion, man.
Yeah. Hey,
like
man.
That's just like the dude said, your opinion.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, he was just bashing.
Really?
And that's his perspective. Now, in all honesty.
The guy with plastic bags.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm sure he's a great racer and everything, but he was not happy with the situation. Well, the west side people didn't come over here for reasons that we don't go over to the west side, right?
When we talk about west side, for those people who don't live in this region, we're talking Seattle versus Spokane.
Well, Seattle. I mean, even
the Seattle area, our west side and our east side of our state are very diverse. Are very diverse in terms of topography, in terms
mm-hmm.
of population,
mm-hmm.
in terms of all that stuff.
Social economic.
I get a lot of people who think that Spokane is a suburb of Seattle, and it's not. We're
300 miles away.
300 miles suburb. Yeah. So anyway.
So anyway, it was unfortunate, but I thought I'm not going to let that guy bother me. We're trying. The promoters, ODZ, is trying to create a scene here. This is grassroots, and Bruce Johnson, when I was getting back to at the crit when we were talking about, I shared this story with him, and he goes, ODZ, these guys are like enthusiastic. Now, the problem is you and I and Bruce have been doing it for years. You kind of hit a burnout.
We're bitter.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, but USA Cycling is not your friend when it comes to putting on a road race. The hoops you have to jump through, the money you have to pay for insurance for follow vehicles to have it is
This was going to be one of my questions, so you're nailing it perfectly.
Yeah, and so it's that's why, I mean, if you look on the west side, they have a few road races that are kind of circuit races that can control. You can't shut down you don't have 27-mile circuit races or whatever over there.
Yeah.
They're smaller because the stuff that has to be done, and we do live in a very Sioux happy society, so that's why all these rules happen. So
litigious.
Yeah, it is definitely litigious. Yeah. So, but anyway, I think it's grassroots. I hope you got to start somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of people. It's easy. I was thinking about this because in your text, it's easy to do a gravel race because you don't know how you finish. There's people scattered all over, blah, blah, blah. And even like the Chafe or a Gran Fondo, I understand the appeal because you're like, oh, I did it in 6 hours and 19th, and you can break down these categories. So I was 19th and 50s, but the 55, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I did pretty good.
Yeah.
In a road race, it's like you're standing naked in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you get dropped and everybody knows.
Okay, so I'm going to address this specifically to you, Paul, because you and I both grew up in a time where every club had to put on a race.
Mm-hmm.
If you were licensed with USA Cycling, you had to be a member of a club or you paid unattached fees.
Mm-hmm.
So you became a member of a club, and that club had to put on a race every year. I am so angry with USA Cycling for not continuing this tradition, because what happened is the model then switched to a for-profit promotion scheme where a lot of people, myself included, because I'm putting on a 24-hour mountain bike race this weekend, we hope to walk away with a little bit of money. Now, mind you, our ultimate goal is breaking even. But that's not the commonplace. And I'm not putting myself on a higher platform here, but I'm saying that because putting on events has become a profit-based model, people stop putting on races. It has not become a matter of, we have our club dues, we have a budget, we're going to put on a race, and we hope to break even. And if we don't, we have the club dues to offset the fact that we didn't break even. I can't tell you how much I personally feel that is robbing the sport of where it needs to be again. And I think the USA Cycling, USCF back in the day, has fucking dropped the ball on this. And I don't... ODZ, we keep saying ODZ. For the people who don't understand, ODZ is a local club.
There's Spokane chapter.
Yeah, Spokane. You're right. It is a larger entity. They have taken on in our local area, putting on some of these events.
TNT.
And without clubs and without people willing to say, I'm giving up my fucking Saturday and Sunday, these events don't happen. And I personally pinpoint the decline of road racing on that. Mountain biking, you have parents. We always had a parent influence in road racing back in the day. I think that's the... Hey, boys! Yeah. Nope, not that one. Anyway, yeah. We always had... Oh, God, that is the sound... That's my weekend right there. That's my
what
weekend.
We started with.
Yeah, that was my weekend.
That was rough.
Yeah.
But I think that the sport is not dying or suffering because you don't have those people who are, in essence, being forced into making the sport continue.
Yeah, and I agree. I remember I was unattached for a while, like my first year and a half.
You had to pay like $5-10 a race.
It was double the entry fee.
Yeah.
It was double. So, I mean, back then it was a lot of money when you're a bike racer. It was instead of a $10 for a road race, it was $20, you know. So, some of that you start stacking it up every weekend, then all of a sudden it starts building up. But then I got on the team, and then when you're a low budget team, it wasn't too bad in the day to put on a race.
Yeah.
But now you talk to promoters what it takes to put on a race. You're like, oh my God. And it's not just that weekend. It's all the crap that you have to put up with before leading up to it.
I'm getting people upset with us because the prizes aren't cool enough already.
There's no excuse for that. You're out there to have fun. Really, you want
or the
money.
The shirts aren't cool.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's like, really?
Is this in the Twitter world? Is that what it is?
It's across the board. It's Facebook. It's social media. You know, it's that protection of that thing like that. Jackson is somebody who what makes the sport attractive to you? And I know that's a gigantic nut to crunch here, but what makes, and I keep leaning heavily towards road cycling, what makes the sport something you would want to do, and why aren't we seeing more people?
Yeah, it's complex why I enjoy it. I think one of the reasons is the camaraderie that I get from teammates. You guys, I guess you are teammates. Friends, everybody. I think that's a really big thing that I like, is that we can all suffer together and we all know how one another feels. That's what I say about when you watch cycling. Nobody can you can't really understand the sport of cycling unless you've experienced the sport of cycling. So that's something that I really enjoy. I like the, I will say I like the thrill of winning. That is, competition is something that drives me a lot. And then this kind of goes underneath the camaraderie category, but there is a community. The more you get involved, the more you realize this. And it's just, there are a lot of nice people. In cycling, yeah, you can find a lot of pretty self-centered, annoying people, but there's also another subset that is really cool and is willing to put on things like this, and I'm not trying to sound so praising as I am, but that's another reason why I like it. And I think that another reason why there aren't people coming into it is because there is such a lofty price point when it comes to this sport.
Yeah.
I have noticed that ever since the introduction of carbon fiber to my world, things have changed a little. And it is, at least for my financial situation, it is an unachievable place unless it was gifted, which I was lucky enough to which it was.
And let alone if you want a kid to get involved in
yeah,
it.
Exactly. And that's tough. That's really tough.
Because your bike's nicer than mine. I just don't want to say that right now.
Well, that's see,
it's fucking bullshit. But
yeah. Well, yeah. But that's the thing. It's
and you bought it.
I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Still paying for it.
Well, yeah. But that is the core of what I think is so tough about the sport, and why it can have its difficulties is because if you're going to line a modern day top of the line road bike to a modern day top of the line entry bike, there is a difference, and we all know it.
Yeah.
And that's that I think is something that's really tough. Entry fees, and it's not to the fault of the promoters, it's the fault of, as you mentioned, the financial situation that they're put in to cover their dues.
And in some cases, it's a profit model.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Well, everybody, you want to, you enter something not wanting to lose money, obviously.
Yeah.
And money, unfortunately, runs the world.
Yeah.
So when you get down to it, expensive sports aren't really going to change. I mean, hell, every sport you want to get into seriously is expensive. And that's why we aren't seeing a lot of grassroots movements, because it's so expensive.
Here, I'm going to touch on that on expense. So you're asking, we're going to do the chafe,
Wait,
right.
we
Gonna?
Well, hopefully I haven't broke it because she just got home. Yeah, it is on Father's Day. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
So hang in there.
Okay.
But I looked at you pay a certain amount, and then because it is to benefit a charity, there's an extra amount on that. And this is not something for that same amount of money or less. I just did what I really like, racing. I love racing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to dump more money for one day. It's hard for me to
of Kirkland Costco food stops.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so to me it's like, but look at the numbers. That I'm the minority here.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get more people than what happened this weekend with 3 events. So, I'm the wrong person to ask, but it to me, it's a financial thing.
It's hard to understand.
Because again, to me, I draw back to like gravel races and cyclocross and it's not, I'm not throwing shade on them, but it's easy to do these races and you don't know, cause it's not a pack. You see the guys in the lead in front of you and you're chasing. There, it's like chaos, and you just plug along and you do the best you can, and you finish and you have to wait for the result. You don't know unless you win or you're with that winning group. You don't know where you land until like the next day or something. It's like, hey, and you just break it down until you're satisfied with. I was third with the 59-year-olds who had a cold and had a bad knee
and blue underwear.
Yeah. Blue underwear. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where the masses want to. They like the competitiveness, and then same with Strava breaks it down. I mean, you can look at segment, and it's like, wow.
Age group, weight.
Weight,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And if that drives you, that's fine. I'm not, again, I'm not, but throwing shade on that stuff. But for me, if I get my ass kicked or I have to look like I'm wanking in the back of the pack in the crit, I love it. I don't care if the weather's shitty or you have to ride through the hill piled up on the side of the road like we did. That's what I'm after.
Here's two questions. Number one, could you live in a world of circuit races and criteriums? Why or why not?
Well,
I'm worried that's where road is going.
I have no problems with circuit races. I love circuit races. I don't like point to
Could
point.
you live in a world without road races? Without
road races,
genuine road races?
Road races, yeah. Like one big circuit or point to point or something. Yeah, circuit races. I have no problem.
When I speak of circuit races, I speak of I always think of it in terms of crit, shortest distance, circuit races, and then road races. Circuit race is a shorter distance loop, something protective, either that or out of the way. Could you guys live in the world in a country that has circuit races?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. God. Wow. I didn't expect that response. I really didn't. I expected, because we spend so much time looking at the European model where they do have the access to these gigantic road courses and farm roads and epic climbs and things like that. Are we in this country being forced to look at a smaller circuit, just population density and where we're going to end up?
I will say, with what I think here in the United States, we cannot be picky. We have to take what we can get, because I think any racing is good racing because we don't know when we're going to get it.
Yeah. I also think in order to expand the sport, the criterium model is going to be an incredibly successful model for road cycling. I think mountain and gravel are going to do great. They're going to flourish. It's going to be a wonderful model. But I think if road wants to continue its traditional road race time trial crit, all those kind of things, they have to focus on what is doing so well in this country with these crits. How could you imagine? I mean, how many times have you heard or experienced somebody who has seen bike racing through randomly experiencing a crit, a downtown crit, a twilight crit, things like this? I mean, I can only imagine that's one of our greatest exposure models to this sport.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the most entertaining.
Yeah.
You get to see when the moves happen, and it's like you're watching it on TV, but you get to see it in reality.
We are in a country where Europe is a country where kids grow up watching bike races with their dad. Yeah. We live in a country where kids grow up watching football with their dad. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not bashing football. But I am saying that for cycling to grow, we need to trick people into discovering it.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, you look at the model that in Belgium, like Kermesse is, that's a big thing, and their a lap is like 8 to 10 minutes, and the rumor is they
time
want
for you to drink a beer.
Yeah, you get a beer down, and you can while they're gone, you can get a new beer, and so that's how the race is done. And I think if you create that festival. The last time we had a downtown criterium, Bruce and I I mentioned his name, we were talking about the success that downtown criterium, we had just one running.
Let's just call him the ambassador.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Sam the ambassador. No,
ambassador cycling. We got to come up with a different name for Bruce.
Maybe just Bruce.
Yeah, just Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like, that was like a success. And I shared this story once before. I was warming up for my crit while it was on the, they closed down the town and stuff. And two little kids and their mom and dad were coming by, and I was on my rollers warming up. And the kids were just like, this is awesome. And, they could feel the excitement. People were cheering. My siblings never get to, they don't want to go to a road race. How boring is that to go?
Do you never see them?
No.
Yeah.
They take off, see you in about, 3 hours, that type of thing. A crit, every minute they're going by. If there's speed involved, there's there's music that you produce as a commentator. Yeah, I mean it's a festival, and that's what Americans like. They like we have short expansion and attention
Span.
Span. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you look at the success of Tulsa Tough.
Yeah.
Three crits in a weekend. So, that is a formula to get the ball rolling, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to do it. So here's my next thing is, and this isn't necessarily intended as a question. I think it's a statement. Everyone listening to this show make an effort to get involved into an event in some way. I'm talking about either being the guy standing in a neon vest with a stop sign out on a road in the middle of nowhere, all the way up to actually putting on a race yourself. I think it is in our hands as bike racers, and I think bike racers, especially road racers, are selfish fucks, and I am one of them myself. And I think we need to, if we want our sport to succeed, we need to take a weekend off and be a USA Cycling official and be a volunteer standing on the road in the middle of nowhere, and understand, just because you're not racing this weekend doesn't mean you're going to miss out. You're going to suddenly become less than somebody else. I think of our local ODZ chapter and those guys all giving up their weekend and making these fucking races happen. And I wish for the mandatory element of it, because I don't think Americans are the type of people who are going to do something unless they're forced to. Mm-hmm. So there we go. Mm-hmm. So I'm skipping through like 5 pages of my script, because I had so many more questions about the state of cycling, but I think we're going to have so much of those. So we're going to finish with some fun. You guys ready to finish with some fun?
Yeah.
We're going to finish with a good old round of Would You Rather.
All right.
And we're at 1 hour and 26 minutes. So we only got about
4 minutes.
About 4 minutes.
And to break it down, Richard Carapaz is in pink still?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Giro over.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Do you think he's going to win it?
probably.
Oh, good.
Jai
'cause
Hindley's
I
only
picked-
3 seconds back.
No one picked him.
Yep.
Bike racing covered.
Yep, there we go.
Would you rather not be able to ride for 5 years or only be able to ride a beach cruiser for 10 years?
Beach cruiser for 10 years.
Yeah.
Beach cruiser for 10 years.
Okay. I would do the same thing. Only ride in extreme heat or in extreme cold?
Heat.
Heat, by far.
Yeah. After this weekend, I am a firm believer in that motherfucker. Would you rather be forced to drink a half gallon of milk before every ride or eat a jar of peanut butter before every ride?
Probably milk.
I love both, so it would be a toss-up. I could
Really?
do both. I go through peanut butter like crazy, and I drink about a gallon of milk every other day.
Let's break this down for a second.
Yeah.
The half gallon would make you so fucking phlegmy, and the peanut butter would make you so just full.
Yeah. Good protein. You'd have a lot to run off.
Haven't you ever heard? You'll get full on milk. Have you ever heard of the gallon challenge?
Yeah.
It killed someone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and drink
Not
a
a gallon of milk, did.
A gallon of milk
whatever.
within 1 hour.
Oh, gross.
So the thing is, it just fills you up. Most people toss, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just can't. It's supposedly. Anyway,
Would you rather ride a bike that is too big or too small?
too small.
Yeah, too small.
As long as I get the seat height.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's huge.
I'd go with 2. Would you rather vomit on your hero or have your hero vomit on you? And if so, who would that hero be?
If Peter Sagan vomited on me right now, I don't think I'd ever shower again.
Yeah, mine would be Sepp Van Marke. So let's see. I don't think I want to throw up on him. He's had enough bad luck.
So you'd have Sepp
I'd
vomit
let
on
him.
you.
Yeah,
I
hopefully
would
just on my shoe.
I'm still I'm still sticking with Bernardino, and I think Bernardino would probably try to shelter most of his vomit,
Yeah.
because of dignity. So I'd probably only get splattered. So I'd rather have, because if I saw Bernardino, I'd probably vomit, and it would probably be a lot, and he'd
punch you.
He would totally kick my ass. So yeah, exactly. Would you rather commute everywhere for a month or bike pack 500 miles in 1 week?
Oh, I would rather commute
Yeah,
for a month.
easy. Easy.
I'd rather bike pack 500 miles in
You're
a week.
stupid.
I'm thinking about it, though. That's what I'm
I know.
planning.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather ride with a helmet with no vents or be forced to wear heavy wool socks all summer long?
Well, if we're getting into the science of the wool, technically your feet would
heavy,
be
thicks.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I'd probably wear Socks, because that's a lot worse.
You could douse them with water.
The head is a lot
Yeah,
worse.
wool is my friend. So
Oh,
it
okay.
wicks sweat well.
yeah.
This is not necessarily would you rather, but would you only ride indoors for 6 months? Only ride indoors 6 months. And in exchange, you would get the new bike of your dreams.
Yes, 1,000% I would do that. I did that this year.
I'm talking like season months, like
Oh,
good
you
outdoor
missed-
riding. You're looking out the window, going "fuck."
Nah, I
don't know
would.
if I
I
would
wouldn't
then.
do it. I
You
couldn't
wouldn't do it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Jackson?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
No way.
I don't think I would either. Would you rather teach your boss to be a cyclist or teach your mother-in-law, or in Jackson's your case, your grandmother to be a cyclist?
Well,
Boss or mother-in-law?
Boss. I don't even look at my mother-in-law now.
Yes.
It's like,
my boss would be pretty funny to have along, so I'd do it.
I have no choice. I'd have to teach my boss. I don't think my mother-in-law would ever be a cyclist. Yeah, your grandmother.
see,
Yeah.
my mother-in-law wouldn't be either, but even trying to teach her
Yeah.
be like reading a paper in a high wind.
My mother-in-law would be open to it,
Yeah.
but I don't think she'd like to learn about racing. I don't think she'd want to ride.
Maybe
My
casually.
boss? Ooh, that'd be a tough one. Wow. I wrote these.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather drink 3 malt liquors after every race if it meant you placed in the top 5?
No. No.
Paul wouldn't do
No way.
After a race, you just down three
No.
malt liquors.
No.
You wouldn't do it.
Life's too short to drink that shit.
I'd rather earn it.
Sam.
Yeah, Jackson.
I'd rather earn it. So no. I got to do it on my own accord. I don't want. I don't
Good
want
call.
luck.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at
I'd
that.
drink 3 malt liquors.
Huh.
I'd fucking do it.
Huh.
I'd do just.
Oh, that stuff's-
I'd develop a taste.
Start licking cats' asses then.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
there's
that's how you
it's just
develop
a
that taste.
it's a gateway drug.
Ah.
You guys, we didn't get to a third of the stuff I had planned, and we spent a lot of time talking about our bike race weekend. But you know what? This show is about the cycling lifestyle, and it's about experiencing what we experienced. And I hope you guys listening to this show got to experience the joy and the highs and the lows that is going out there and being a part of your cycling community. And that's, god damn, it was, like I said, I went from the lowest of the low to a pretty goddamn good high on Sunday. And if you can come away with anything, it's sign up, it's go be a part, it's get teammates, it's be a part of a club and things like that. Is that the moral we're taking away?
Well, I think so. But I would like to add, as bad as my crit was, whoever in that crit said, "Hey, Packfillers, if you guys win this race, I'm giving you a 1-star rating." So hopefully this guy will give us a 5-star.
I
Fingers
did.
crossed.
That made me laugh, and I was starting to get in the world of pain, so I needed that. That was good.
I do have to say that I did have several people come up to me and say, "Man, I love this show." A lot of people I didn't know. One guy was in the 1-2s pros, fucking huge guy, Central Washington guy. I can't remember his name, and I apologize. I can't remember your name, dude. You're a beast, man. You're stronger than fuck, and you rode incredibly well. And I apologize that I can't remember your name. And then I had one person just look at me randomly and go, "Do you guest host on that Cycling Legends
Guest
show?"
host?
Yeah. And I went, "I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's me, kind of." So it was cool. It was fun, and it's so much fun to, again, get out of this basement and go talk to people. So
Yeah.
it's
it's good.
So there we go. So to close out the show, I do want to say that there's still time to sign up for the 24 Hours of Riverside. My good friend Eric and I are putting on a race this weekend. We're putting on a 24-hour mountain bike race. And if you want to come play with us, come play with us. It is 24hoursofriverside.com. In other words, 24hoursofriverside.com. Come play with us. And no pressure. Okay, we're putting on bike races. Like, subscribe, tell a friend about the show, and I just want to say,
We didn't win the crit, so give us 5 stars.
Yeah, give us 5 stars. My kid won the crit, and that was the coolest fucking thing in the world. You know, even though my dad thinks I'm Paul.
Blonde hair.
Yep.
Yeah, completely different structure.
Christ. Yeah. You were there. Fuck,
Yeah.
I've never had blonde hair.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a great weekend.
Yeah, it
and
was.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
way to crush
Looking
it.
forward to
We
more.
got to find more races. We
Yep,
got to find
we
more
will.
races.
We will.
Yeah. Send us races. There we go.